Okay, good afternoon. We just have some exercises on evaluation of functions and operations of functions. Okay, let's start with this set of exercises here on evaluation, function evaluation. So let's start with item A. So the direction tells us to simplify those function, the function of those given values or expression. So let's start with f of negative 2. We're working out letter A. And this you already know, since you're just evaluating it at a real value. So you replace x by negative 2, each occurrence of x in the formula. Of course, since you're allowed to use your calculator, this can be done with a calculator. So you have f of negative 2 equal to 8. Then others require evaluation of f at algebraic expressions or at other functions. Actually, x plus 2 and 1 minus x can also be thought of as functions in themselves. So we're evaluating a function at a function. So again, f of x equals x squared minus 2x. Now we replace each occurrence of x by x plus 2. So we replace x by x plus 2 to get f at x plus 2. So replace this x by x plus 2, this x also. And we have that. And you are to simplify. So you already found it. You just have to simplify it. So expansion gives x squared plus 2x for f of x plus 2. Okay, you can practice on f of 1 minus x and just if you want, take a screenshot or just watch this later and then practice on item A by evaluating f at 1 minus. Okay, next. This one for letter B, the function given is a rational function. So, okay, I was thinking of function composition. So same thing applies for letter B. So let's still show f at negative 2. So replace x by negative 2. So we get 1 over 4. And then f of x plus 2 Let's have f at 1 minus x. For this one here, we replace each occurrence of x by this one. And simplify. Now, this is an acceptable answer, but sometimes we can multiply by -1 over -1 so that you don't have too many negatives appearing in the final expression. So -1 over -1 is 1, so you're not changing the value. You're just changing its appearance. Okay, this is 1 plus x or x plus 1 when multiplied by -1. So that's say better looking than the previous expression. Okay, I'll reserve letter C for you to work out. Okay, let's have letter D. Okay, let's have f of -2 for letter D. So substituting, get -1 for f of -2. Okay, f of x plus 2. Then we replace x by x plus 2. And there you have it. Simplify. Okay. Don't conclude right away that this is undefined just because you see two negative signs there. That will depend on the value of x. If x is actually negative in value, the expression inside the radical will be positive in value, so it will be defined. Yesterday, I discussed exercises on finding the domain of a given function. You better study that, okay? So that the next ones will not be difficult for you to understand. So you need this one to later on understand how to evaluate the composition of two or more functions, like when you have f of g, g of f, or even f of f, or f of g of f. So that will be reserved for another session, okay? But for now, we'll just have function evaluation and function operations on functions. So I want you to work out items E and F. For item E, okay, just find f of -2 and f of 1 minus x. And then for item F, f of x plus 2 and f of 1 minus x. And then we'll I'll return after 10 minutes. Answer. Okay. For letter E,
Sir, for F, function F -2, it's 1 over square root of 3. And then for the other function, it would be, for function 1 minus x, it would be 3 minus 3x over square root of x.
check that. Wait, having problems. The speaker. You can flip this one again. Okay, mic test. Reverberate. Okay, now for E, we have f of -2 equal to -6 over square root of 3. Now, there's no need really to rationalize unless required in the by the direction. And also, you might be asked to just round off your answer to several decimal places. But in case you want to rationalize, that's fine. So you multiply by square root of 3 over square root of 3. So you would have a more, say, simplified answer. And then next, f of 1 minus x. So at first input, you'll have this one. But of course, you have to simplify. If this requires solutions, then you'll get already credit for giving this one, even if you don't get the final form correct. So it's okay to leave it in factored form though, but it's okay also to expand since you're not actually dealing with a very complicated expression here, unless of course you have to the 10. Obviously, you won't be required to expand that, but this one is just linear, so it's okay to, or if it's squared, perhaps you might want to expand that, then multiply by distribute the 3 to each term. We'll do that for this one. Then here you'll have x. This is fine, but some would attempt to rationalize the expression, and you will end up with this one, which is not necessary. In fact, you're not making it simpler. It even looks more bulky, that you not only have square root of x this time, you also have x below. Unless it will cancel with some of the terms here, of course, that would be good. But another way to give your answer would be to divide term by term, since there is just a single term or expression along the denominator. So some could give it or write it this way. And then this will become square root of x. Okay, x divided by square root of x is square root of x. Since x is square root of x squared, or just multiply it by square root of x over square root of x. So that will become x squared of x over x. Cancel. And this is also an acceptable answer. Or if allowed, you can write it in exponential form. That will also be an acceptable way of writing the final answer, especially when we go to exponents and logarithms. But for now, whatever you have, okay, there, you just simplify it at least one more step. And if you see that there's no more to be done, okay, aside from rationalization, then you can stop there. So this will do. Next, letter F. So for letter F, we just do the last two ones. Last two. So we have f of x plus 2. And then notice here, 2 minus x. We replace x here by x plus 2. And then if you simplify, it will just become 2 minus x minus 2. So it becomes minus x. Okay, so it's minus x squared. Okay, this 2 minus x now becomes, if replaced by x plus 2, becomes negative x. But when you square that, actually, you will have a positive. Becomes still x squared. And then don't forget, you also have to replace x here by x plus 2. So you'll have x plus 5. And then do some more simplification. And usually, either you write it in increasing order, I mean, increasing in the order of increasing exponents or decreasing exponents. So increasing, you'll have it this way. So 0 power of power 0, 8x to the 0 yan, di ba? Power 1, power 2. Or you can have it in decreasing order of exponent. Although it doesn't really matter, the order in which you write your terms really doesn't matter, but for orderliness or for formality, sometimes, okay, textbooks write answers in a certain order, okay? Now, you just have to check if this might have a common factor with x plus 5. Kasi kung may common factor siya, you can still cancel that out and so still further simplify your answer. But in this case, I think there is none since 8 does not contain a factor of 5. Right? So you can stop here if this is your final answer. Okay, let's try f of 1 minus x. Place this x, place this x. So it becomes 1 plus x squared over, again, replace this x by 1 minus x. So it becomes 4 minus x. Then expand, distribute, rearrange, and possible factor out. Okay, so I think this, even if this were factorable, it won't have any common factor that can be cancelled out with this term or expression. Okay, next. So given f of x, find and simplify f of x plus h minus f of x over h. The reason why this kind of, or this type of exercise is given to students is that this expression actually is a quotient that frequently appears in calculus. In fact, we call it the difference quotient. And the difference quotient is used to evaluate derivatives. So I think the textbook has inserted, because the textbook was done by the department teachers. So they inserted this one here. And so let's see how to evaluate a difference quotient. So let's start with, okay, minsan medyo complicated ito kasi may time na kailangan mag-cancel out. But let's start with, okay, say a letter C. I'll leave letter A to you. So letter C has f of x equals 1 minus 2x squared. So sometimes you can just evaluate f of x plus h separately before you proceed with evaluating the quotient itself. So f of x plus h is 1 minus 2 times quantity x plus h squared, which takes some work to simplify. So you'll have this 1 minus 2x squared minus 4hx minus 2x h squared. And then you evaluate next the numerator. And note that f of x is just the original function or expression. And in fact, you should find terms canceling out, which is these two terms here. So if you subtract that, minus 1 minus 2x squared, you'll find these terms canceling out, leaving you with just negative 4hx minus 2h squared. And the thing with difference quotients is that the over h there will always be canceled out, no matter what function is given. It will always cancel out. So this is the numerator. Okay, so we divide that by h, cancel, cancel. So you have the difference quotient equal to negative 4x minus 2h. In fact, when you go to calculus, this will zero out the h. If you had calculus in high school, right, you'll find that the derivative of the function given here is negative 4x. Let's illustrate another. Okay, let's do letter B. it's a rational function, so this one involves LCD in order to factor out and then cancel out the h later on. So again, f of x plus h, okay, is just, okay, this time simple or simply 2 all over x plus h plus 2. And when this is the case, usually you just handle the difference quotient as a whole instead of doing it separately. Now, to avoid clutter, let me just first evaluate or simplify the numerator. So how do you simplify that? You will have to make use of the LCD. The LCD is just the product of the two denominators since they do not have a common factor. So the LCD would be x plus h plus 2 and times x plus 2. And then, of course, you do, if you still remember how to simplify fractions, you do a cross multiplication to get the numerator. And then it's a minus, so should also place a minus here. And simplify. The numerator will look like this. And again, terms will cancel out. And you will be left with a negative 2h on the numerator. And don't forget, you have an over h because you're evaluating a difference quotient. We just simplified the numerator. So you put an over h here. And again, as I have said, h will cancel out. Although you will still have h appearing in some terms of the expression. But you just have this now. No need to further simplify. Since when you go to calculus, h will zero out because it's a limit actually. No need to concern yourself with that. So that you will just have x plus 2 also and x plus 2. That you'll have x plus 2 quantity squared as a derivative all over. Okay. So try exercise D, item D. So 5 minutes. Let me show. So f of x plus h minus f of x first. We'll cancel out the h afterward. So this will become okay. And then we get the LCD. The numerator becomes 2x plus 3 plus 2h. Then denominator becomes 4 minus x minus h. I usually just write, okay, the expansion so that you have the same order of terms for as with the original function. 4 minus x, 4 minus x. Then LCD again. Cross, expand, okay, so just multiply 2x plus 3 if you have to do this manually. 2x plus 3 times, okay, 4 minus x. To do it in reverse, I mean, to take the negative after. So you'll have negative 2x squared. Then that's 3x minus 8x negative 5x plus 5x. And then you'll have plus 12. Then the 2h. Then this one. Sorry, this one. Same thing. So 2x squared minus 5x minus 12. and then minus h with minus anyway, that's just 2hx plus 3 plus 3h. Then terms cancel out again. So you'll just have 8h and 3h. Don't forget you have to cancel that h. So final answer 11 over 4 minus x minus h or minus x. Unless otherwise specified, okay, you will have to give your answer in simplified form. Otherwise, if you're just asked to write down or formulate the difference quotient, then this one will be enough. Okay, maybe. Okay. Sometimes you're just asked to formulate the expression. This is rarely, okay, asked as a question in the quiz or in the midterms. But if just asked to write this down, then just give this. There. Now, if not, okay, mention specifically in the direction that you just have to formulate, then you also have to simplify after this step. Now, for your practice, try letter A. That's for your study at home. So let's move on to the last set of exercises for today. So here we're just going to explain the several operations on functions, what those symbols mean or notations mean, like f plus g, f minus g, fg, and f over g. And it should be obvious that they simply mean addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division of those functions f and g. So for instance, if we do letter A, f plus g would mean adding the two functions f of x and g of x. So f plus g of x or at x means f of x plus g of x. So you just add the two functions there. And of course, simplify unless otherwise stated in the direction. And then that's it for the first step. And the next would be simplification. So LCD. There. So the sum of the two functions is actually a constant function. And then similarly, f minus g, of x means f of x minus g of x. So we will have the same, except that we change the other to a negative. Still, we'll do the same process, getting the LCD. And so you have this one. Okay, 19 minus 6x over 6. Which can sometimes be written as simply 19 over 6 minus x. Or negative x plus 19 over 6. Or just change the order of that, negative 6x plus 90 all over 6. And then fg means, okay, this symbol here, or sometimes you see a center dot. So that simply means the product of the two functions, f of x times g of x. So you just multiply and simplify I'm used to having positive coefficients for x. Negative 15 and negative 4. And then minus 10. Okay, this one here, over 6. This will do, or nothing actually prevents you from dividing term by term. There's really no specific kind of or type of simplification that is required, as long as you simplify, quote unquote. So fg of x, since this is just a quadratic, so you should have ax squared plus bx plus c. So it's better to write it this way. Okay, do you have any questions so far on simplification? And then the quotient. So f over g of x simply means the quotient f of x over g of x. So you have to just multiply, remember, by the reciprocal of g. So I'll change this to multiplication, and then take the reciprocal of that function. Simplify 15 minus 6x over 6x minus 4. So that would be it for this session. I will leave those to you to practice on. Now, do you have any question regarding the quiz number 2? Hindi ko pa na-checkan. Section F kayo, no? So I think there's still 6 people whose quiz I haven't checked yet. So please watch the video on the solutions to quiz 2. There I explained why I did not give full credit to those who got question number 15 or question number 14, simply because either they did not give a solution or they gave an invalid solution, especially with the circle problem. Okay, question 15, where you simply got the midpoint of the two given points, which is not always the case. Kasi yung ginawa ng iba, di ba, dun sa circle problem, may 2 points, tapos may radius, inassume nila agad na diametrically opposite yung dalawang points doon sa circle. But there are 2 points given in question 15, and you are given the radius. I forgot if it's 5. And then what you did to get the center, okay, A and B, what you did was to get the midpoint of A and B, and then just verify afterwards that the distance is indeed the radius given. But that is the case if A and B are diametrically opposite, that is AB is a diameter and not a chord. Because what happens if it's a chord? It's not always the case, okay? Nataon lang yon. What if A and B are situated this way? And when you get the center or the midpoint, it's not the center. So you will get the wrong answer. So rather you have to set up a system of equations to solve for the center, and eventually you'll get the same set of coordinates you found when you got the midpoint of AB. So I only gave you 2 points out of 8 for giving the correct answer. But since it's a show your solution, okay, problem, you actually have to show a correct solution first before I give you full credit. In fact, dapat talaga kung normal face-to-face to, or kung talagang puro show your solution tayo, or puro problem solving tayo, 0 talaga yon kung tutuusin, or perhaps 1 out of usually 10 points to 15 points lang kapag puro problem solving. So usually 1 or 2 out of 15 lang ang naibibigay doon. So kung sakali yun yung dahilan. And also yung isa pa doon sa parallelogram, kung yung sa tanong sa'yo nasa, I forgot kung third quadrant yon. Yes, sa third quadrant, paki-check kung tama yung, kasi mali yung binigay kong sagot. Dapat ang sagot is -19, -18. If you got something like this on the parallelogram problem, and you got either 0 or 2, please email me para ma-correct ko yan. Okay, so that's it for this session. Be ending the meeting.